Normally, I call it Wacky Wednesday or the Hump Day Hoedown, but today it's just a normal Wednesday. What's happening, everybody? How you doing? It's EC Radio time. We're live on all Disruption Network social media platforms, and you can listen to it later on at your leisure, at your discretion, at disruptionnetwork.net over there on podcast form. Much love to my sponsors. Before we get into anything, thank you so much to Eddie Alsheimer and his crew over at EJA Moving Services, the professional movers. When it's time to move and relocate, hit up Eddie and his crew at 315-335-0516 or ejamoving.com. There's not a task they can't handle. They'll move pretty much whatever you need to move. So, also, for some of you snowbirds looking to get to Florida just after the holidays, they'll drive your car down there. They do a car transport. So have EJA do your car transport. EJAmoving.com or 315-335-0516. Shout out to my attorney, Dave Longaretta. Give him a call today if you need legal advice, 315-735-6162. If he could keep my ass out of trouble for the last 20 years, he could keep your ass out of trouble for the last 20 years. Also, much love to my folks over at Utica Coffee. Wake the hell up. Wake the hell up, as they tell every day. And probably the coffee at Utica Coffee has turned me into a coffee snob. I will tell you that. And I never was really into coffee. It was always Folgers and Maxwell House and all that other crap. But Utica Coffee has totally made me a coffee snob. So thank you so much to Frank and Heather over at Utica Coffee. And shout out to Saranac, too. Saranac has made me a seltzer snob.
Right.
Taylor, what's happening, bud?
How you doing? Good to see you.
Good to see you, too. You're sipping on a little Saranac today, right?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
I love that product.
It's
I love
great.
what they're doing.
Yeah.
I like that it's not so sweet. Like if you drink a White Claw, it could be a little too sweet, like you're going to have a diabetic stroke or something.
Yeah.
But this isn't sweet. It doesn't really...
I mean, can you get it on tap?
You know what? I don't know. That's a great question.
Yeah.
I would drink it out of tap.
I saw that dude with sign, that guy on Instagram. He's that huge personality, holds up cardboard signs in New York City.
Yeah.
And he just said, like, one day it was just like, White Claw, we need White Claw on tap. I just thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, that is hilarious.
Seltzer Storm.
Have you tried their new Saranac seltzers? They have a new, winter edition.
Wow. I'll have to check it out for sure.
And again, it's not super sweet like a lot of these seltzers are. It's very tasty. And I'll tell you, man, I'm a lightweight now. At my old age now, I'm a lightweight. I got to have like 2 or 3, and then I'm feeling kind of funky.
Sure. Yeah.
So
Get the bass out.
Right. Just start slapping. Just slapping. You're a fellow bass player. Are you playing right now? Are you playing with anybody?
No, not so much. I live in Richfield Springs, New York, so... if it was anything, it would be playing for the weekend bingo club or something. There's not a whole lot going on. But
did you grow up playing in bands?
Singing, yeah, a very musical household, yeah.
Yeah.
Just singing a lot, and eventually joined a band in college, a cover band, and we played everything from like Talking Heads to Pearl Jam, and my roommate senior year was just like, here, I got you this like Mexican-made Fender P bass. Here you go. You're going to be the bass player in the band. I was like, okay. So I was like, why? He's like, because every time you listen to a song, you're always humming the bass line every time. And he's like, I don't know anybody else who does that. So we're a rare breed. Yeah.
100%.
For sure.
What musical influences did your parents put in your DNA?
Growing up, it was a lot of, late 80s, early 90s. It was a lot of like Michael Jackson, George Michael, all that kind of stuff. My dad used to listen to all like the smooth jazz out of New York City at the time.
Cool.
So, that's very prominent bass lines.
Oh, yeah.
In all those songs. But yeah, I would say more like, I was listening to a lot of Stevie Wonder, so Nate Watts and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, so you were all over the place.
All over the place.
A lot of funk.
A lot of funk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what you primarily like to play? Funk, or are you like a rock and roll guy, punk rock?
Yeah, anything with like a prominent bass line. I mean, I'll strum along to some Sting tunes and stuff like that too. Just really anything that's got a nice melody to it. I suppose. Yeah.
It's important to take from all your influences, right? 100%.
100%.
You learn a little bit here and there, and to open up your horizons and open up your ears.
Sure.
And try to sample a lot of different genres.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, you play what? You have a Pedula, or what do you have?
I play a Spectre.
Oh, a Spectre? Yeah, nice.
Neck through. I love that thing.
Yeah.
And I also have like an Ibanez. It's like an Ibanez 5-string, but I don't usually play it too often just because I don't like the way it sounds. So it just kind of sits there.
Yeah.
But that Spectre is great.
Those are nice.
And I use flat wound strings.
Okay.
And it's just because it's so much smoother, and you're going up down the neck pretty easy. And,
sure. Yeah. Definitely.
We once back in the day with Street Rock Mafia with AO, our friend.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We were playing this cold gig out in front of the Utica Auditorium. It was for the AHL All-Star game back in like 2015 or whatever it was. So we got to play out in front of the AHL All-Star in the middle of January.
Nice.
So I had to come up with a solution. Like I need to play with gloves on
Right.
to stay warm, and those texting gloves. Actually, you know what I'm talking about? Those
Yep.
little mitten things
Yep.
and flat wounds work every time.
Every time. You didn't have to cut the fingers off?
Didn't cut the fingers off or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Had to tune your bass after every song because the thing was just like
yeah, it's so
seizing up
freaking
on you,
cold.
yeah.
It was so cold.
Yeah, that was a cool band. I was watching some of that stuff. Yeah, AO was telling me about it, and
Oh, thanks, man.
I checked a few tunes out. Yeah,
Yeah, we had a lot of fun writing in that band.
that's awesome.
And we talk, on a weekly basis, so it's still good that we stay in touch. A lot of bands just kind of like fizzle out and like, oh, I hate that dude. Not
Sure.
us. We have so much love for each other in every member of that band. So
That's great. Great to hear.
it's important, to keep those relationships because you spend so much time with these people. We
Yeah.
spend so much time in a van and laughing and joking and sharing each other's problems with.
Sure.
So you make this this connection for pretty much for the rest of your life. You know.
Definitely. Yeah, it's like a little tribe.
Yeah, exactly. Would you be interested in playing music around here? Are you looking to get with
of
some
course.
guys?
Yeah.
or-
Yeah. Anytime. Yeah. If there's live music, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a 5-string. I play some fretless too. So, any of that kind of stuff, I'm up for it. 100%.
So are you musically trained?
Not really. No, I took some music courses in college, and then I played in like sort of a semi-professional, like all original band down in the DC metro area
Really?
after college, and then moved back up here 2012 to the Cooperstown area where I've primarily grown up. And like I said, I came up with like 500 watts of headroom, and I'm playing at like the farmer's market, just like blowing the shirts off everybody. It's like, how can I need to downsize?
Why are my pants vibrating when I'm trying to buy tomatoes?
Exactly.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
yeah.
What's the DC scene like? I mean, it sounds like you were coming up at the right time throughout.
Yeah, it was cool. I connected with this this band that was looking for a new bass player. They'd been around for probably 5 to 10 years, I suppose. All original music, very talented players in the band, and it was kind of like a Western singery songwritery kind of acoustic, almost like Wilco
nice.
kind of music, So it was a bit of a challenge for me just to sit in with in that kind of band. If you're not playing on the one, as a bass player, hitting the one every single time, then everything just gets derailed. So there really wasn't like a lot of room to breathe and kind of like branch out and do my own thing, which was oddly enough, really the right kind of thing that I needed in terms of being like that player in a band at the time, just in terms of my skill level and learning. So it was a really awesome experience, just like being part of something that was bigger than me noodling around in my living room.
Right. So you like to improvise? Are you into the experimental thing?
Not really so much. Grew up listening to a lot of like Marcus Miller. He played on some Miles Davis albums and things like that. So, yeah, he had a really interesting way of like soloing, but always reminding the listener of where the one was the whole time. And not like losing that feel. And so I've always tried to like sort of emulate that to an extent, I suppose. Yeah.
I love it. Take
Yeah.
it to the one.
Take it to the one. You can't lose it.
Yeah, you can't. You got to keep that shit going, man.
That's right.
I love it. I love it. I could talk bass all day.
I mean, let's do it. Yeah.
I definitely could. We should start. I was thinking about doing a podcast, just strictly bass talk, throughout Disruption Network, and just getting. I'm friends with so many bass players, and just sit around and talk and nerd out a little bit. Are you a gearhead?
Typically, once I get immersed in something, I start taking notes. I would
get
say.
all involved.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you own a lot of gear?
I probably have. Well, I have 3 bass guitars and like sort of 1 professional rig. And I was of course sharing the $75 bass off Amazon, electric bass off Amazon with you recently. Yeah.
I'm gonna pull the trigger on this.
I just like the idea of knowing that I purchased a fully functional electric bass guitar for $75.
Right.
Don't care what happens to it. Kids can destroy it. But it makes noise.
Yeah. Did you ever have that beater bass around that you needed to smash at like the end of the gig or something?
That was like that was the one Fender that my buddy got me in college. Yeah, that bass is destroyed.
Yeah. Do you still have it?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Got swept up that night.
Yeah.
That's usually what happens. Yeah, man. So you've been back up here since 2012. Have you been able to experience any of the music scene that goes on here in Utica? And
not so much, because when I moved back up, I moved into a village called Milford, which is right in between like Cooperstown and Oneonta, so right on Route 28 up there. And so that was, and I was kind of getting, tapped back into some of the childhood circles I'd grown up in. I originally grew up overseas and outside New York City, so this was always like a summer destination. So I was never I didn't go to Cooperstown Central High School. So I always just kind of ran in different circles, different age groups. So it actually isn't until recently that I've been, considering Utica sort of my hub, out that way. If you need to get your needs met, you're typically going south to Oneonta. So now I live in Richfield Springs, so I just bomb down the hill and take Route 5 and I'm here. And I have yet to really immerse myself in the music scene. I did go see Michael McDonald at the Stanley Theater.
Nice.
I also saw Lettuce there recently.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
Thank you for coming to that.
Yeah, that was fantastic. So that's really the extent of the music scene in Utica for myself.
Ah, right on. There's so many great players.
Yeah.
There's such great music coming out, and I always attribute to the weather being so shitty outside that people are stuck inside learning how to play their instrument. Yeah. And there's a lot of great bands from Utica to Syracuse. I mean, all of upstate New York. In fact, just the other day, we talked about this on Monday on Local Music Monday. During the Buffalo Bills game the other day against the 49ers, who was it, Fox or CBS? One of the major news channels that was broadcasting the game was playing all these upstate New York bands as bumper music.
Oh, wow.
So
cool.
Mo got featured.
Yep.
Wild Adriatic got featured. Brand New Sin, who really isn't that much of a band, right? They play maybe once a year. And then an Honor Bright. And there might have been a couple more, too. But, yeah, they were featuring all upstate New York bands.
Wow.
So
That's
it was
super.
cool.
Yeah,
one for
super cool.
Give it up.
Yeah.
Chalk one up for upstate New York.
Yeah, and there was when I saw Michael McDonald at the Stanley Theater. And for any of you guys listening, you should put on one of those Michael McDonald Christmas albums because they're insane. But he was there, and there was some piano player opening, some local piano player. Mm-hmm. Maybe his name was Rick or something. I'm not sure. But he.
Oh,
he
yeah,
was
Ricky Zaccaro.
That's who
Ricky
it was. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
He does a lot of Billy Joel. And,
yeah, like Bruce Hornsby. And,
yeah. You have tremendous player. There's so many great musicians in this area, though.
That's great to hear. And that's actually a good segue. I mean, that's one thing that we're really interested in with Innovation Collective is trying to, bring in mentors, people who've been really successful in industries like, arts and entertainment, sports technology, and hospitality to really kind of help, enhance the local economy through those industries specifically here. So,
what made you pick Utica?
It's a great story. Our CEO, Nick Smoot, he's based out of Idaho, where they've been, we have sort of a satellite or our first innovation den that we've created there about 7-8 years ago. We've been testing this concept out there. And he was at a tech conference in Reno, and Martin Babinek from Little Falls was there and sort of heard, the mission and the vision of Innovation Collective. And he said, you guys really have a grassroots, regional economic, human capital, tried, true, and tested plan to really kind of enhance and infuse and spark curiosity in these communities that you go into. And he was like, I think the Mohawk Valley needs it. Next thing you know, a lot of individuals from Utica who, have got very strong expectations for the area and have been, prominent pillars and figures in the city, went out to Idaho and saw what we were working on out there. And they said, okay, this is something we need to try to help happen here in the Mohawk Valley. So we've been here. This is our second year now. So, and it's been an awesome ride. I mean, I came on board in February, and then COVID happened. So it's been a really interesting, it was a bit of a career change for me as well. And so it's been a really, really interesting introduction to, trying to get a community excited about something amidst a pandemic. It's been really kind of a task.
You got to kind of reinvent yourself a little bit and then keep the morale at a high.
Correct.
Because if you notice, since we've been on this Corona coaster, there's been so many highs and so many lows. More lows than highs for sure. But if people have just, they found new hobbies and stuff to do, and it's got to take away people out of their comfort zone, but then it's also made people so comfortable that they get kind of wallow in their misery type of thing.
Yeah, I had a really weird haircut 4 months ago.
Same.
Yeah. So, no, I think, but you are right. All these recreational sporting industries, we were talking about it this morning on one of the events that we hold, Coffee and Concepts, where every first and third Wednesday of the month, 7:30 in the morning, digital. We just talk about crazy tech news, things that are happening. And we were talking about hey, the coronavirus is really sort of, I bet everybody's in like the best physical shape of their life because everybody's just been outside, riding bikes around. Good luck buying a bike. Good luck buying an instrument, a laptop, all those sorts of things. Like those industries are completely just booked.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, no, I honestly, it's, you know, the other thing coming from Oneonta predominantly, right? And then sort of immersing myself in Utica, I would have to say that I was really sort of taken aback and impressed by like the way that the community came together. It was really something to watch. Like everybody just really seems to have everybody else's interests, you know, sort of the forefront of their mind. It seems like this very hospitable city and community.
It's always been a very giving community, very generous community, you know, with a lot of the different fundraisers and charity events that go on in this area. People are quick to lend a helping hand, and that's the one thing you can say about the character of Utica is people are there to have your back.
That's great.
And so it's a great fabric to have here in the community. And like what I love seeing what's been happening and prior to Corona Coaster, that people were really okay, for the millennials, for instance, they weren't leaving. Like my generation was so quick to get the hell out of Utica. As soon as they graduated in the late 80s, early 90s, everybody bounced. Gotta go. Can't deal with it. In fact, there was a bumper sticker they used to say, last one out of Utica, turn the lights off. Remember if somebody remembers that. But there was those bumper stickers going around, especially around the late 80s, because this place was all run down. It had its day. And now you start to see these kids staying in town. There's doing startups, and there's business going on. And there's a lot of really cool people doing some really cool things in town. And it's making, you know, it's given the whole great vibe. And prior to Corona Coaster, it was going on, and I still kind of see it a little bit. You know, obviously we're all stuck in the house and doing these video conferences such as you do, and I know the Chamber does a bunch of stuff, and there's a lot of cool organizations still out there doing a bunch of fun things. So we need to see more of that, and hopefully when this Corona Coaster is over, it's going to be like a slingshot, and it's just like, who knows, sky's the limit type of thing.
Yeah. No, I for sure. I think it's been it's certainly required everybody to change their perspective on, you know, their day-to-day routines and their life. And, you know, the one thing I'm keeping in check is like, don't make myself too accessible, you know, like now that somebody had called me earlier today. I was actually talking to Devin Mahoney from the Uptown Theater.
Yeah, I know Devin. He's been on the show before.
And he, you know, he was like, hey, are we Zooming? I was like, no, you can just call my phone. Like, we can just have a phone conversation, like, just like we used to. Like, I don't have to see your face to have a conversation. Because I think everybody's getting kind of zoomed out for sure, yeah.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. And it's become such a thing, and now everybody's going to celebrate their holidays through Zoom. And But at least we have it, though. At least it's an option.
100%.
Instead of not being able to see your family, you have the option to see your family for the holidays.
Yeah, and we've been hosting like a combination of hybrid events. Like our last fireside chat speaker was this really awesome guy named Thibaut. He's launching this artistic sort of movement called Nomadic Voices, giving people sort of a chance to come out and do spoken word poetry in different parks across the city and stuff.
Him and Malcolm, right? Malcolm's part of that as well?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah. And you know, so we had like 10 people in the room, and then we had like 35 people online, and you know, I mean, that's just what I think it's just the way it's going to be for a while.
It is,
you know, and that's okay.
It is.
So
then our friend Heather Beebe do a fire.
She did. Yes, she did. Yeah, at the one Jenny, it was like
she rocks.
Yeah, outside under the tent, it was a great night. Yeah, that's awesome.
She rocks. We got to get her podcast back out, but obviously she's got commitments right now.
Correct.
Heather's good people though, man. See, again, we could probably sit here and have a whole podcast and name all these great people that are doing so many amazing things.
Yeah, I know, it's really
community.
awesome. Yeah, it's a lot of energy for sure. You know, amidst again a pandemic, there's a lot of things moving, things are happening, and you know, we just started running this Explore Club. We just launched our Innovation Collective Leadership Community, which people get this crazy little card. I think I've got one here. This card here that's got a little bottle opener on it, so you can.
Oh, nice.
And you know, this gets them access to different perks around the community, like free household membership to the Munson Williams Proctor Art Institute for a whole year, and food off at the Delta. You know, money off drinks at the Delta. You can get free coffee at Street Corner, and
so it's not just a bottle opener.
It's not just a bottle opener. Yeah,
that's amazing.
It's amazing. And so we've got like 25 people with these in their hands running around Utica going, hey, I'm part of this like nerd tribe and I can hang out in this like nerd country club and we're going to start companies together. And they're from Idaho and they're super weird.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's going well.
Speaking of Idaho, when you're traveling, what do you tell people not from the area about the area?
Well, I don't actually head out there too. I mean, I was going to head out there this summer, but you know, of course, everything was so locked down. So, you mean when people come here from Idaho,
or when you're going somewhere else? Not even just Idaho. Say you're traveling. Like, what are you saying about Utica? Yeah. What do you say?
A lot of the stuff that you're saying is that there's a lot of the sentiments that I've been hearing is the same stuff that you just sort of mentioned. There's a lot of positive momentum moving in the right direction. I refer heavily to the percentage of resettled refugees who populate the city. I think that's just a staggering statistic. And I think it's also sort of like this example of what the city has historically been capable of and is still capable of. Giving people a chance to start over. I don't think that necessarily has to be somebody who's getting on a plane and seeking refuge in our country or in our city from another place. I think that Utica it gives people a chance to start over. It gives people a chance to start something new. And that's why we're kind of obsessed with these like small to medium-sized cities that have really prominent sort of social infrastructures because people have the network and the framework to actually pursue amazing things here and to not just get educated and leave like the people in your generation, right? And I think we're starting to see that more. And, we really want to be a part of that puzzle for people. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's cool. So explain a little bit more about the Innovation Collective too. Like,
sure.
You guys are inspiring startups and helping people get going. Like, explain that whole process.
Correct. Yeah. So, we might be a little bit different than like the Small Business Development Council in the sense that we're probably not going to help you like with your business plan. We might help you tweak your pitch deck. But we're really we like to call ourselves a human capital grassroots company that's really focused on industry-specific startup activity in the different cities that we're in. We are a for-profit company. We're in 6 different cities across the country now. We like to revitalize spaces to create, a sense of community and a place where people can kind of congregate, kind of like this nerd country club, where you can hang out with a bunch of other people. You know what they're working on. You know what they're good at. And that's all very out in the open and discussed. It's sort of like a tribe of it's like a curiosity tribe of innovators and creators that are really, we've seen people in Idaho create multi-million-dollar companies because they came to Coffee and Concepts, which is, again, one of those recurring morning meetings that we have. Second half of that meeting is just an opportunity for anybody to throw out an idea that they've got in their head. And we've seen multi-million-dollar companies come out of that process in Idaho. And you got 70, 90 people sitting in the room listening to this one guy spew out his idea about making like a carbon Batman suit. No joke. And we're like, what? He's like, yeah, I think I can make the best carbon Batman suit ever. And we're like, what does that even mean? And next thing you know, we're investing in a company that creates like action hero suits, So it's a lot of that. It's a lot of like sparking curiosity in people. We have this national Rolodex of mentors from Fortune 500 companies, from big brands who will fly into cities like Utica to hang out with members of our Innovation Collective leadership community for the weekend to kind of talk shop, like, hey, personal and professional, like, what are you good at? What do you suck at? Like, let's talk about it. And then, we also have these internal little processes that we run, these different pathways that our members can choose. So right now, like I said, we've got about 25 folks reading the book Union, which is we know the author. He was one of our Think Big Festival speakers. And it's this conversation about what it means to be a Republican, a Democrat. These guys were driving across the country in May of 2020, wrote a book. And I'll tell you, it's like it's the fast. I told the guys on this, I told everybody on the Zoom call, I was like, this is like the fastest hour every Monday of my life coming together on screen with you guys to talk about this book. Cause it's like, nobody else is having these conversations. And so the reason we do that is because we think it's really important to instill a sense of community into like the sort of tribe mindset where we're reading books together, we're having those challenging conversations, because you very well may meet your business partner in one of these meetings, your next business partner in one of these meetings. So that's a lot of what we aim to achieve. And then we're going to be rolling out Venture Studio at the end of January. That's an 8-week program where we take your business from A to Z. We work on your pitch deck. You pitch to us. And that gets you into phase 2 of, access to our venture capital fund out of the Bay Area. So, we'll bring in venture capital funding to support those industries like sports tech, hospitality, and entertainment, arts and entertainment. And so through that process, we'll again bring in those experts who are sort of experts in the field of those three industries to kind of teach the community how to kick some ass.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Are there other industries that you specialize over?
Yeah, so Coeur d'Alene was interesting because it was like predominantly like a logging and a mining town. And then after all of our Innovation Collective activities, and we've got a 45,000 square foot innovation den there that we've renovated with co-working space and anchor retail, like there's a coffee shop there. And we've got this private speakeasy in the basement where you hold your card up to a bookshelf and you go in, you get your own liquor locker, cigar lounge, and all that kind of stuff.
Where is this now?
In Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Idaho, okay.
And so we've seen a lot of the industry focus in Idaho change from those sort of like archaic, logging and mining to AI and robotics, just because we've partnered up with the University of Idaho to fly in like coding text experts, and we bring in computers from Apple, and we'll teach a whole high school senior class how to code, before they graduate and things like that. So
wow,
it's a lot of those types of, so that's sort of some of our give back to the community. But we really sort of pride ourselves on creating those partnerships and really kind of leaning on each other to create opportunities for folks to pursue great companies in the area that they live in, so they don't have to leave.
Do you offer some sort of grant or any kind of like financial help or?
Yeah. So the Venture Studio, so members of our Innovation Collective Leadership community, we've got a couple different pathways. We've got the $10 a month that we're going to be launching at the end of January. Okay, it'll all be very clear on our Facebook page, which is a private group. We keep it private to keep sort of soliciting out. It's a great resource for people to say, hey, I'm working on this. What do you guys think? But we've got people can apply to the Venture Studio. That's $10 a month, so you can do the growth group. So that's our human capital curriculum, where we say, hey, these are the different areas of your life. Like, how can we enhance some of those so you feel better about yourself? And then we've got the Venture Studio, which is that 8-week program with our in-house team. And then also we have mentors from big Fortune 500 big brands that come in and mentor the Venture Studio participants. And then when they get into that second phase, that's when they become, part of that ring of people who could potentially be, access to venture capital funding, 100%. So we'll take 5% of the company, 1% is a placeholder for the community. We sort of keep like a nest egg for the Utica IC tribe, and then the 4% IC takes, and 95 to the business owner.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And this has been going on how long in the 315?
Like maybe like 2 or 3 days. No, I'm just kidding.
This has been since 2012, though?
No, in Idaho?
No, here in Utica.
We came into Utica like very late 2018.
Oh, okay. So you guys are fairly new.
Fairly new, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and so we're working on a first innovation den, which is going to be in the basement of the Westwood building, which is where Street Corner Market and Jimmy John's is. So if you head to the back, there's a stairwell that goes down there, and we'll have individual offices for rent for $275 a month. And so with that package, you'd get all the access to the different spots in the community, access to the Explore groups, the book clubs, Venture Studio, all that kind of stuff. And then there's also a $75 option too, which just gets you access to sort of the several living rooms I'm going to be setting up down there, which is how we started in Idaho. We started in this old, dusty, dingy basement with people's furniture from their living rooms, and
just people hanging out.
People just hanging out, starting companies together, and then. We eventually moved into the renovated Elks Lodge right downtown in Coeur d'Alene. But yeah, it started in a really funky space, and so it's starting in a very funky space in Utica. So we're really pleased with the progress and the traction it's receiving.
Do you see Utica taking the same progress as Idaho? Or
we see that. Yeah, that's our goal for sure.
You see that already?
I do. Yeah, I think there's a tribe of people out there that are really looking to be part of something, that want access to other knowledge that maybe is not taking place right here in the Mohawk Valley.
Right, there's a lot of that.
And a lot of the really successful people in this region are people who have left for some time and then come back.
Yep.
And so we try to bring in those experiences so people don't have to leave. And it's really the mentors that we fly. Like this one guy, Justin Giuliani, he's like a high-end art dealer. He's sort of like an artistic cultural placemaker. He's going to be working with the Munson Williams Proctor Art Institute and their staff while he's here. The dude's got a one-way ticket here. Like he has no plans to go back to LA. He's got like a gallery out there. He lives there. and he's got a one-way ticket. He doesn't know when he's leaving because he's coming to support, the ICLC and the community here in Utica.
Oh, that's cool.
He's probably going to be sleeping in the basement of the den. We're not sure, but we'll see. We'll help him out. But yeah, those are the types of people we like to surround ourselves with, And to your question, I definitely do see like this urge, I feel like the people of the Mohawk Valley are super hardworking. I feel like for once we're starting to see some traction. Downtown there's a lot of infrastructure enhancements going on, a lot of big buildings going up, and I think people are kind of going, oh, okay, yeah, the ball's moving in the right direction. Yeah, how can I get tapped in? So
I'm interested to see Utica in 10 years from now, because it's going to probably be the golden age. If you think about it, with all the things that are going on right now, everything's under a lockdown right now. But
right.
Once it starts going again, and we see 10 years from now when the hospital's built and downtown's vibrant and things are happening, and 10 years from now it's going to be pretty epic.
I think so. I mean, I hope so. Yeah, and it really it's up to us. The other thing is we've got a lot of people moving up here. Like I used to crunch a lot of data. I worked as a regional administrator for the Census Bureau, and so I was always very fascinated with the statistics in Utica because it's so diverse. For starters. But we've started to see, and even in Oneonta, we saw from June 2019 to June 2020, there was, and I'm not sure what survey this was, but it was in the New York Times Magazine. There was over a 200% wage increase per household in the city of Oneonta in just that year. And so what that tells me, and a 42% increase in Utica. And so what that tells me is that people are moving up from more heavily populated areas like downstate, and they're bringing their six-figure salaries with them, and they're working remotely. So we know that this is happening. I mean, the real estate market is indicative of a lot of fast turnover. Right, houses are not on the market for very long.
Yeah, there's no inventory.
And people are moving up to less densely populated areas with, more highly densely populated areas, experience and job knowledge and paychecks, So I honestly do think 10 to 15 years, you're going to see some different kids walking into, the kindergarten classrooms of Proctor High, and you know what I mean? Like, I think it's destined to change.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
This good vibe, man. Good conversation too. We got to get you back in here because I got to cut it a little.
Oh,
bit
good.
short
Yeah, no,
today,
I appreciate
but
the
I would love to get you back in here and pick your brain and talk about many different things. I mean, we can probably sit here for the next 3 hours.
Yeah.
If we both have the time to.
Before we go, so I just
plug
want to let
everything you need to plug.
I want to let everybody know our next. So every month we do a fireside chat speaker where we bring out someone like Heather Beebe. Next month we've got January 13th. It's going to be an all-digital event. We've got Anna D'Ambrosio, CEO of Munson & Williams Proctor Art Institute, is going to speak to the group about her upbringing and her professional career. And that's really a great way to get tapped into what Innovation Collective is all about. We really like to hear the stories of people who are kind of innovators and entrepreneurs in the community. And then again, on that first and third Wednesday of every month, 7:30, we've got that Coffee and Concepts where we talk about Elon Musk and then, what are you working on? And that's been kind of a cool meeting ground for a lot of folks early morning hours. That's digital as well. So, yeah, if anybody has any questions, just, hit me up, taylor@innovationcollective.co, and check out our Innovation Collective Facebook group. It's a great place to get tapped in.
Awesome. Keep killing it, man.
Thanks, man.
Keep killing it. I love what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity.
Spreading the positive vibes for sure. And if you have any kind of event going on or anything, please use our platform.
Great.
We're here to promote. We're right here in the middle of Central New York with the rest of us, and we love to keep sharing and spreading the love. And so, thank you for coming to hang out.
Thank you.
Man.
Appreciate it.
I'm glad we can finally do this. I know that we had a couple mishaps on the way, but now you know where we are. Please come in anytime, man.
Sounds good.
Please do.
See you guys.
Thank you so much to EJA Moving Services, the professional movers. When you're ready to move and relocate, hit up Eddie and his crew at 315-335-0516. Shout out to my attorney, Dave Longaretta, Utica Coffee, and Saranac Brewery. If not for my sponsors, this podcast is not possible. So thank you so much to all the sponsors. sponsors and everybody out there. If you're interested, if you have a business out there too in a sponsorship here at the D, slide into our DMs, as the kids say. I love saying that. I don't know why. I shouldn't be saying that, but I do.
Yeah, it's okay. It works.
Anyways, give us a shout, though, if you are interested in doing some sort of sponsorship, whatever. What do I got tomorrow? Tomorrow, I don't even know what's going on tomorrow, but I know Uncle Louie, they'll be back tomorrow night for Fa Coffee on Thursday, as they always are here on Disruption Network. And subscribe, comment, all that social media lingo, all things Disruption Network, and, of course, the Innovation Collective. We'll see you tomorrow, people. Later.